Well, hello, friend, and welcome to another episode of Van Life Living in New York. I actually just did a video this morning already because the Spirit moved me to go out to a park and do it when I was out running some errands. But then, that doesn't mean I'm going to not go seek the kingdom first with my Father in the afternoon. And because I went through an experience today, it's one I want to share with you. Because those of you that have been listening to me, you hear me saying about this kingdom, right? And I like to, everybody's always tried to be so ashamed of themselves of how they make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, friend. And I want to tell you exactly how this one went today, right? Because some of you need to hear this so that you'll recognize that you're not the only person that does this. And that thought that's in your head is a serpent, and it's a snake, right? And it's got a half tongue, and it's always trying to tell you half truths. It'll try to get you mad at yourself. That's what it did to me today. So I got up and I sought the kingdom first like I normally do. And then after that, I had to go get some gas for the car because I knew I was going to need to take my mother somewhere later on and all that. And so when I got back, while I was out, I did that video. When I got back, because it hadn't rained now this morning, and it's been raining for days, and the grass was real tall. So I needed to mow my sister's grass, right? And so I was mowing it. And it got hot, and I was hot and tired, and I hadn't eaten in the morning because I just got kind of busy and forgot about it. Well, she asked me to take her to this packing ship like she said she was going to need to go to, but I wasn't thinking about anything, and I forgot I had already made a commitment to take someone to work, right? They needed a ride to work. And that was at 12:30, and we left her house at 12 o'clock or so, and at my mom's. And after we went to Packing Ship, we went to the store because she wanted to pick up some hamburger rolls and some baked beans for dinner tonight to go with the hamburger, right? So as I'm sitting outside, and my mom likes to go, and I often will shop for her, but sometimes she just likes to get out because she loves to talk to people while she's shopping. She's a talker like me, right? And not that I used to be, but I am now. And so she will just talk to people about their babies. My mother just loves babies, right? And so while she's in there, this person calls me and is like, "Are you on your way?" And I look down at the clock, and it's 12:38, and I was supposed to pick her up at 12:30 to take her to work because she had to be there at 12:45. And I was like, oh my goodness, right? And so I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm out with Mom, I've got her at Walmart, I forgot all about it, I'll run in there and grab her and get out of here. I said I'll be there in just a couple minutes, right, which is as good as I could do. Well, from the time I hung up and I went in there, my thought of Satan is starting to beat me up. Now, I was doing the yard because I care about my sister, and I made the commitment that I would help her with that. So I was doing it. My mother I take care of her. That's part of my job, right? Honor thy father and mother. And so this is kind of the task that I have taken on as much as my family needs it, which is a lot, and they help me out. And so as I was going in there, my thought of Satan, I was feeling so bad and beating myself up. All of a sudden, this thought of Satan come upon me, and I didn't even realize it was there yet. And it started being like, oh, you're no good, I can't believe you didn't get that done. And it sounds like me talking to myself, right? So don't think that this is like I'm saying a separate entity. The thought of Satan is in your head, and it's like a thought of your own. Jesus came to divide the divine nature of God, right? Or divinity in creation. You can get more in other videos. I'm just here to tell you about this one. So anyway, this thought starts beating me up. Oh, you're no good. I can't believe you didn't get her, that you forgot about her, blah, blah, blah. And by the time my mother was already at those self-checkouts doing it. As I was walking up to her, this voice in my head is like, it's her fault. She made you take her somewhere and made you forget. And I was starting to get angry, and all of a sudden I realized whoa, Will, where's this thought coming from? And I was like, this isn't my mother's fault. She didn't do anything wrong. It's my fault that I overlooked something because I got busy trying to help them get these other things done. And so I was upset for like a few minutes, right? So the kingdom I talk about having, this peace, love, and joy, left me for a few minutes. But the difference is, I know that I recognize this thought as my thought of Satan now. It's my adversarial thought. I'm not angry at it. That's what its job is. It's to give me a free will choice, right? So it was trying to give me a free will choice not to do the right thing and just accept that I was wrong. And I didn't even really need to ask for forgiveness because I didn't do anything wrong. It would have me thinking that I was committing a sin. I was not. I was trying to help 3 different people with 3 different things, and I completely got mixed up and on my timing because I was busy doing stuff, right? It just is what it is. And so, and some of you might not be able to relate to that at all, but there's others of you out there that are that also like me, that can. I used to ruin an entire day over that. Once it would start, I would justify that. I'd get angry at my mother like it's her fault because I was really angry at myself, and I'd rather look at the speck in someone else's eye so that I don't have to look at the plank in my own. And I could ruin a day, a week over that. You know what I mean? It just snowballs into all these bad thoughts, and then as you treat other people poorly because of the bad feelings that you personally have, well, then you hurt your relationships with you and the people around you. So now that carries on. So this like snowballs into a place I call a state or place of mental suffering. And when you're not conscious of your own thoughts, it can get really bad, and you can cause people suffering not meaning to, right? So the kingdom is about recognizing that I didn't commit a sin, that I wasn't doing anything wrong. I apologized to her. I said, even when I was dropping her off, I said, "You want me to come in so your boss can yell at me?" She's like, "No," and just smiled. And I when I make a commitment, I make my commitment. But every now and then, you're going to make a mistake. We're human beings. I often wonder when Jesus, if Jesus became a carpenter, which they think maybe more stonemason because there wasn't a lot of trees out there in the desert, right? But it really doesn't matter. Let's just say Jesus was doing some sort of carpentry or stonework task, and other people say he was somewhere else. It doesn't matter. Do you think as Jesus was learning how to do some of these tasks that he might have accidentally chipped the rock the wrong way or made a wrong measurement on a piece of wood? Would that make him imperfect? Would that be a sin? Do you get what I'm saying, friend? People blow all this stuff into nothing, and then they get mad at themselves, and then they start holding other people accountable for mistakes. Friend, we're not perfect, right? But our thought of Satan, which is our adversarial thought, will condemn us for these things when we didn't even mean to do them, and then we'll carry out. We'll, instead of acting with intent, we'll react the way we used to. Those of us that didn't have good thoughts and didn't get taught properly how to deal with people. And it takes us to this place called hell, of state or place of mental suffering. So I do have the kingdom. As you can see, I have joy, peace, and love. I did not ruin anybody's life. I did not blame them. At the least little bit, I was short with my mother when I was getting her in the car. And it wasn't that I was mad at her. I was still mad at me. And then I just had to look, and then I was like, oh, look at this adversarial thought, you little booger. You were doing it to me again. And then it took me a couple minutes, and then I was driving faster than usual. Normally I'm a very chill driver, but because I do have a responsibility to get her to work, I was trying to get her there as least late as possible. So I did pick up my speed a little bit. And normally I wouldn't be, when a car gets in your way, then all of a sudden you're like, you want to blame them for the fact that my thought of Satan is like, get out of my way. I need to get where I'm going. It's not their fault I forgot. Why would I get upset at them? But my thought of Satan wants me to do that. That's my adversarial thought, right? So I talk about this to you guys all the time. So if you're a person that is getting conscious of this adversarial thought, it's helpful to understand that this thought of Satan has no real power over you except for the power you give it. Christ told you could have forgiveness. See, even if I would have made a mistake and blamed my mother and gotten all ridiculous, Christ died on the cross so that I may be forgiven. So instead of hiding my thoughts from God and crawling around on my belly like a snake, listening to this forked tongue in my head condemn me, I would have been able to turn to my Father and say, Father, I didn't mean to do that. Would you please forgive me, for I know not what I do? And then I'd have said to my mom, Mom, I apologize for acting that way. And though I didn't act this way this time, friend, I'm not here to tell you that I haven't acted that way. I have indeed. And so this serpent has less power over me the further down this path I get toward the kingdom, right? But I have to spend a lot of time in my secret place because it's the Holy Spirit that gives me these better thoughts, that allows me to realize I don't have to follow that Satan around and worship it and act like it's got control of my life, because it doesn't. If I start spending some quality time in my secret place with my Father, seeking the kingdom through the Holy Spirit, and I get to know Jesus inside out, upside down, and backwards, well, then I start finding the kingdom, and that's what's happened. And that's why I never found it the way I have this time, because this time I got to know Jesus inside out, upside down, and backwards. Now, some of you do come on here. Just this morning, somebody came on one of my things from one of my shorts and was judging me. And I did kind of tell them that some harsh things. But I used Jesus' words to do it. I gave them the parable of Jesus. I said, you better go tell your Pharisees I'm here, because I'm going to rip your houses down. I said, you're going to be saying about me what Christ said about, what they said about Christ. You're going to say, look, there's the prodigal son in the vineyard. Quick, let's cast him out before he takes the vineyard, right? You know this is all biblical, what I just told you, right? You know Jesus said this, and he also told you that it wasn't him that was going to come judge you at the end of the age. He said, I came to save you, not judge you, but another will come. Well, who's without sin? Nobody. But I can ask my Father for forgiveness, and then when I'm in the Spirit, because when I come out on these videos, I don't start talking on these videos till I'm in the Spirit with my Father, right? That way he can speak through me. And it doesn't matter whether I'm perfect at it or not, friend. You can forgive me for I know not what I do, or you're not going to enter the kingdom, right? Just like when that guy judged me this morning. I forgive him for he knows not what he does. But because he's such a hypocrite and judging me, he's doing that to other people. And I can guarantee he's looking down his nose at everybody that he thinks is less than himself. So he doesn't know anything about this kingdom. And if he was non-Christian, I would completely get it. But if you're a Christian and you come on here and you judge me, I'll call you a Pharisee, and I won't have a problem with it, because that's Christ in me speaking, because he is fed up with the church telling lies. This kingdom is right here. You can have this that I'm finding, and it's getting greater as it goes, right? It starts off as a mustard seed, and it turns into a shade tree that gives shade and rest to others. Well, I've been giving shade and rest to others, but the kingdom just keeps getting greater and greater, and your relationship with God through the Holy Spirit keeps getting greater and greater. But you've got to get to know Christ at an extreme level. You've got to become willing to die in order to live. If you've got to be selfish, you can't. Your thought of Satan's got you, friend. You know, I have a little bit left. Look, I'm going to show you. I smoke, right? I've told you. Do you think Christians won't love to light me up for that? Do you think I really care? This judgment is between me and my Father. It doesn't get in the way of me hanging all the laws and the prophets on only 2 commandments. I don't recommend you smoke. It's not good for your health, right? But neither is the poison the corporations are feeding us. So if I stop killing myself with that, the next thing my thought of Satan would try to condemn me with is that I'm eating poisonous food. But the problem is I don't have any money, so how can I eat right? I can't. I don't care how long this body lasts. I got the kingdom right now. When it's gone, I'll get the kingdom there. Why? Because I found it. I've got a white stone with my name on it. That's a ticket to the kingdom. Jesus told you you'd be the only one that know you carry it. So you can't know whether I'm carrying it, and I can't know whether you're carrying one. So if you say you do, hey, then I believe you. Unless I don't, I'll know you by your fruit, just like you'll know me, right? Because it's not that I'm perfect, because you just heard me say all that. But what I'm saying is that this is a conscious free will choice, and it's the end of the age, and you need to wake up and make this decision. Do you want the kingdom? Do you want to love your neighbor as yourself? Do you want to forgive so that you can be forgiven? I mean, if you don't want to, that's okay. You get to ride through hell like everybody else, right? But if you were wanting his kingdom and not have to go through hell, well, then you should be getting to know your king and seeing what he said. Because he did tell you that 10 brides would wake up and 5 weren't going to have enough oil, and by the time they got to the door to the wedding, the door was going to be closed. And they were going to bang, and he's going to be like, yep, sorry, too late, door's closed. And then you're going to ride through hell. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to enter the kingdom because, well, I'm not here to tell you everything, friend. I want you to go read Jesus. I want you to go listen to some other things. You can go listen to some other videos. I'm not here to tell you everything all the time. If you want to judge me for 3 words I say, wonderful. Because Jesus told me that when they curse you and judge you for my name's sake, that I'm doing it right. So you Christians that are judging me and cursing me and calling me a false prophet because I'll call you out on your BS, you might hate me for it, but my Father loves every word. Because it's time for us to turn. It's time for the church to... You're going to have to divide. I have come to divide the church. But if you all get together with getting to know Christ and doing what he asked, those of you that are willing to do it can come together and reform a new body that'll be Christ-like, right? But then you won't let other people just come in there and rewrite their laws. It'll be about Jesus. The word's in red. That's it. Nothing else. And you don't need a teacher. You should be teaching one another. That's the problem. You let one of these people get all prideful sitting up there in the thing, and then you start thinking highly of them. Think nothing of me, friend. Christ is my king, and my Father is everything. King of the universe. Hallelujah. You know what I mean? So when I make a mistake, I go, Father, forgive me. And he's like, you're forgiven. I know he does, right? Even if I'm making that up and it's a voice in my head that's me talking to me. Didn't Jesus say that is true? So if I'm crazy, aren't I the happiest crazy guy because I know Jesus and I know that even if that wasn't God saying I'm forgiven, that God would say I'm forgiven because I believe Christ died on the cross for me and I no longer hide my thoughts from him, right? I'm no longer hiding behind the leaves like Adam and Eve. God doesn't have to wander through the garden going, Jason, where are you? I'm like, I'm right here, Lord. Get it? So that's the thing. I have this wonderful life because even when Satan comes in and is my opposing thought, he's got no power over me because I'm not hiding my thoughts from God anymore. And if he does snitch me into the wrong thing or get me to think the wrong thing, I run to Dad. I'm like, Daddy, look at my thoughts, right? And he's your dad too. He's your father. Jesus himself said, call no man father but your Father in heaven. But he's more than that to me. He's my father. He's my mother. He's my spouse. He's my everything and my nothing. He's in my head and I love him. He's in my heart and I love him there too. He's everywhere I look and I love him there too. So yeah, I'm crazy as a loon, friend, if you're doubting it. But because I know Christ, I'm the craziest, happiest loon you'll ever meet, right? Except for other people that know this Christ. Now, I talk about this voice. Most people don't tell you they have it because that's not their job. I'm the fool for Christ. I'm the counterfeit Christ. I'm the first rider. I've told you all that. I really don't care whether you believe it or not. I'm telling you, this crazy voice in my head that you call me crazy for having told me that. But he also showed me things that I've been telling you that nobody else knew that I know of until he told me and I started telling you all. I really don't care. He's given me secrets that he hid from the foundation of the world through other people, right? So he gives some to me, some to them, some to you. Hey, we all want to be in relationship with the Father if we really know him, and therefore he wants to give us all something, right? And then we'll find more joy in it. But there's just no way I'm not talking to God. I know I am. I don't care what you say. It doesn't matter what other people say. I've got the kingdom, friend. And then I lose it every now and then for a few minutes, and then I remember, that's right, I'd rather be happy than right. And so I run back to Dad and be like, hey, forgive me for my debts. He's like, hey, you're forgiven. Let's get back to the peace, love, and joy party. And I'm like, I'm on that. And then I come out and give him time and do whatever. And so that's the way this works. It's not about this relationship for God isn't between me and you. It's between you and God. But Christ is king, and he gave you all this in his parables. I've been just trying to help break them down for you. And I'm also just showing you what a shameful, pompous idiot I am, so that you can realize that I love you, whether you're just like me or not. My Father loves you because you're his child, period. But you do have to clean your garments, and you got to hang all the laws and the prophets on only 2 commandments, and one is like the other. So you are going to make that choice, or you're not. And if not, that's okay. Then you can ride through the darkness, and that's just the way that works. Nothing personal, friend. Jesus told you all this. So anyway, just know that I love you because my Father loves you, and may God bless you and yours.